Listen. I think this team took a huge step because I saw them battle adversity. I'm glad, and it's straight. Watching back now, they won the game. I'm glad that they didn't blow Bama out because they had a chance to. Right, they had a chance to. If X-Man catches that touchdown pass early on, Jay Brooks catches that touchdown pass early on, or catches the ball in the red zone, they got a chance to go up on Bama. And like you said, Bama couldn't move the ball consistently. They just needed big chunk yardage plays every now and then, and Jalen Milroe's athletic instincts would take over every now and then and just make something out of nothing. But for Texas, I'm glad they went through that adversity. I'm glad I got to see the guys battle adversity and bounce back, like X-Men. Hell, even JT Sanders, right? JT Sanders had that play early on. It was an incompletion / fumble. We didn't know what it was going to be. Turns out they, declared an incompletion, and it was good for Texas. But it was still him battling adversity. I saw Jalen Catalon miss a tackle on Jalen Milroe. Really bad in open field early on. He battled back, had a big game. I saw Ethan Burke lose contain early on Jalen Milroe. He battled back, had a great game. Jahdae Barron actually on a blitz early on. He lost contain. Jalen Milroe gets a first down. He came back, got an interception. Same thing with Jaron Thompson. He gets beat on that big play on a touchdown, comes back, gets an interception. I mean, I just saw this team battle adversity in so many ways. I saw Anthony Hill, young guy, lose contain on the quarterback as a spy and then learn from that mistake in real time. I saw like 8, 9 guys have a bad play first. A.D. Mitchell did. Remember, he had the fumble on the reverse. And he got hit and had a fumble. And it was like
Xavier Worthy dropped a touchdown pass.
He dropped the touchdown pass. And all those guys, those bad plays happened early.
Yeah.
It could have been bad. It could have accumulated, but you can tell the culture. To me, that's a test. The culture is different. Those guys didn't let that distract them or deter them or derail the mission. They all battled back, and all of those guys had great games. And made huge plays. Big plays, clutch plays in critical moments after making mistakes like that. That shows, the team's got good football character.
High football character.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to be the question. Has this team learned? And then we heard about player-led, and the players have come together. They realized, last year some of those games that got away were certainly some play calling from Sark, but also players got to make plays, and they certainly did, as you said. And they all made some rough ones early and, battled it back. And how about that final drive, Rod, during the final 7 minutes of the game? Jonathan Brooks only had 14 carries on the day, but gained 57 yards, and 43 of those came on, or 34 of those came on that final drive, where he was just dragging people to the first down and never gave the ball back to Alabama. And Obama fans are obviously criticizing Nick Saban. They don't like that he used his timeouts, all of them before the 5-minute mark. Yeah, he was trying to catch a spark and I think he was trying to force Sark to throw the ball.
He was.
To see if he could force a turnover, right? See if he could bring a blitz or get a ball tipped or something to get the ball back, because as long as Texas was pounding the rock, they couldn't do anything about it. But that was really, really impressive. When we hear from Steve Sarkisian after this game, obviously he was very emotional. This is a place he loves, Tuscaloosa. You'll hear why here coming up. But proud of his team. But he was asked why this is such a big win for you personally.
University of Alabama, Nick Saban, Tuscaloosa changed my life. At the moment of my life when things were not going great, and he extended me an olive branch, and everybody here was so supportive of me coming here, and then bringing me back a second time to then having to have open heart surgery while I was here. So these people here mean a lot to me, and I'm very grateful for everybody at Alabama and in Tuscaloosa for what they showed myself, my family, my wife. So to come here and to play them and to play the way that we played, it's humbling, because life kind of goes full circle on that kind of stuff. So not to get overly emotional about it, but it means a lot.
All right. And his team, you heard when in the immediate on-field interview with Quinn Ewers and Steve Sarkisian, it was Quinn Ewers who said, we trusted our coach. Our coach told us on Monday that if you just trust me and trust the game plan and trust the process, we're going to win this game. And they trusted him to a T. And you just said it, Rod Babers, perfectly, that much like Steve Sarkisian had to overcome a lot of personal adversity and health adversity to get himself back to this point where he can be coaching at the top of the college football ladder. The players each had to face some adversity within that game that they battled back from. And now the one guy I don't think made a mistake. I don't think Quinn Ewers made a mistake in the game. Quinn Ewers was so locked in.
That fumble on that, I don't know what the hell it was. Remember where they tried to tush push
Oh, yeah,
where
yeah.
they
On the
put
fourth down.
JT Sanders
On the fourth down.
Jay Brooks. We didn't give him enough props. That might have potentially saved the game.
Oh, man, that recovery.
That was huge.
Jump
that was
on that
huge.
ball. Jump
then,
on that ball.
Oh, man. And then the refs, I don't know what the hell the refs would think. Remember when they came out and said basically there was Bama ball at first?
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. But that was a weird play. I don't know what that was. And there was one weird drive where he was backed up deep in their own territory. And he just was out of sync. Do you remember this? Where
Yes.
they threw it? You remember? It was like 2-3
Right
plays
before
in a
the
row.
half. It was right before the half.
He just seemed like he was. I don't know what it was. It was weird. Every other drive, he seemed like, man, he was a stone cold killer. Like, but it did that one drive. He was a little out of sync.
He
but
threw a ball low to
JT
Jatavion.
Sanders, and then a little bit high to
And his
X-Man.
footwork was off.
Yeah, it was just one. It was one drive. I'm not complaining. We're not criticizing. I'm just saying, like, that was the only thing that I noticed in my rewatch. But I'll say this, because we're gonna talk a lot about Quinn and what he did. Because I think the game plan by Sark was magnifico. I mean, it was a lot of stuff that we brought up and talked about on the shows about getting Quinn in the groove, getting him in a rhythm. He didn't throw his first deep ball until the second quarter. All right, don't chase it. All right, go make big plays. Don't chase big plays. I don't think he chased it. I think he was hunting it. He was hunting it, but he didn't chase it. It's a difference. He was hunting that big play. We'll get into some of the X's and O's later. But the O-line, man, the lines of scrimmage. That game is a line of scrimmage game. My man Jeff always says SEC is a line of scrimmage league. That game was about the lines of scrimmage. 0 sacks.
0
sacks allowed for Texas.
Or turnovers.
That's a great point, too. But I want to give props to the O-line. The game plan was a part of that, too. Quinn's a part of that, too. It all works, in synchronicity, if you will. But coming off the Rice game, everybody's biggest concern was the O-line. We were freaking out. Like, man, this O-line, they don't look good. They just look like that they were overwhelmed. We don't know if we saw enough improvement from the offseason. And in that 1 week, and sorry, you got into it, Ian, talking about, hey, they made it win good on good, whatever it was. They fixed those problems. I always say coaches are problem solvers. They solved that problem. And then they had 0 sacks versus Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Then on the flip side of that, you have 5 sacks. And I'm not going to lie, I counted like 3-4 sacks they missed.
They missed. Because
Milroe's
hard to bring down.
He is. He was a good athlete.
He's a good athlete who they had. I mean, Byron Murphy had him dead to rights a couple times, and I mean that could have been an 8 or 9 sack game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I counted 4. I think I counted 4 in my notes that they missed, but you probably could have been a little bit more gracious and said, yeah, they probably missed 5. The Texas offensive line is the only offensive line since 2014 that allowed fewer than 3 QB pressures and 0 sacks in a game against Alabama. Like, how the hell do you do that against Nick Saban in Alabama? That's Kyle Flood and Steve Sarkisian and the O-line. Take a bow, gentlemen. Take a bow. And the Texas D-line, take a bow.
Yeah, 3.1 yards per carry for Alabama. I mean,
line of scrimmage,
sacks,
baby.
I mean, and props to Sark and this staff because they've built something here. And now the goal and the opportunities in front of you to not just make it a special win, but make it a special season in your final in the Big 12. But you certainly told and put the rest of the SEC on note that you're ready to go for that league, right? They're going to join the SEC. That's been a big question. They, at least for one night, they played like an SEC football team, a dominant SEC football team.
Like a damn good one.
34. Well, on 34-24, and right, it was the Longhorns had 13 points at the half. Could have been 21 points if they catch balls. Jonathan Brooks and Xavier Worthy had to settle for field goals. And, that's why all Longhorn fans who, as I said in the headlines, Longhorns have been in the top 5 in the country since 2010. And if you remember that 2010 miserable year, they didn't stay in the top 10 very long.
No.
Because that was a 5-7 season. So that wasn't even a good year. But that was the last time they were among the top 5 teams in the country. And in this game, they played like one. And, but as you said, they weren't perfect. They were just –
that's the beautiful thing about it.
They were just relentless. They were just a relentless football team who wasn't going to be denied in that opportunity. And it was a moment, and now you go build on that.